Today we'll be changing the throttles on an Apollo Air. The tools you'll need for this repair are a Phillips head screwdriver, a 5, 3, 2.5, and 2mm Allen keys, electrical tape, and flush cutters. So to start changing the throttles on an Apollo Air, the first thing we're going to want to do is free the display from the handlebar assembly. So to do that, I'm going to uninstall this headlight here to give us better access to the screws securing the display. So with my 2.5mm Allen key, I'm going to lift up the hook from the front of the handlebar assembly and just uninstall the one screw that is securing the headlight. So once that's loose, I'll be able to pull out the headlight from the front. I'm going to hold on to the screw that installs it. Next thing we're going to do is uninstall this brake line. We're going to need it free later on in the repair, so it's easiest just to get it out of the way. So I'm lining up so that space in each piece creates one line, and then I can pull the brake line and simply remove it from the handle. Now the brake line is free and there's nothing in here. Now with the Phillips head screwdriver, so the only piece still securing the display into the handlebar assembly is this small set screw. I'm going to use a 2mm Allen key just to loosen it. We don't need to remove it completely, just enough. Oh, see, I went too far. Just enough. And then with that same 2mm Allen key, I'm going to poke from the bottom up and free the display. You can see all the wiring inside. So our next step is to loosen the handlebar grip. There's two screws here and here. So with my 3mm Allen key, I'm just going to loosen them. I'm not going to remove them completely. Just one or two turns around should do it. You'll notice as I do that, it also frees the turn-in signal on the end. So I can pull that out just for now. Piece of glue. We'll see the connector here. We're going to disconnect the turn signal so that we can pull the grip completely off. I've removed the heat shrink. We can see just a quick connector, very easily to undo. We can set the turn signal aside and we can just pull this grip all the way out. So now I want to remove this throttle, so I need to take my 3mm Allen key. Again, the screw doesn't need to come all the way out, just needs to come out enough to allow some movement. And now I can pull the throttle. The trick when pulling the throttle is finding which cables it's attached to inside this cavity in the cockpit. And here I can see this is the cable it's connected to. I can feel the connection. So I'm going to unplug these two and I'll be able to just pull this all the way out. Because of the shape of the connectors, this can sometimes need to be twisted or played with in order to pull it out cleanly. And there we have one throttle removed. So to put the throttle back on, we want to make sure we go inside this turn signal connection onto the stem, the handlebars. Now again, just like pulling them out, these connectors take a little bit of playing. I find it works best if you don't group them together, but you kind of put one behind the other. So this bigger one I'm putting down, and the other one I'm putting right behind it. I'm just going to feed it through. Perfect. So now I see the cable here, and I'm just going to connect them. The power throttle, which we just put on the right hand side, will have one connector with a red, green, and black cable and one with a yellow, blue, and white. The red, green, and black matches with another red, green, and black, and the yellow, blue, and white doesn't have a perfect matching set of cables, but it's the only other white head that connects properly. It connects to a yellow, orange, and white. So now that that's plugged in, just to test that it worked, I can actually turn it on. I'm getting an error because the brake isn't installed right now, but it turns on just fine. So now I can take our cover, make sure it goes over the turn signal connector, and you can see there's a little tab in this, and it needs to line up with the space in the handlebar. Once it's on, we're good. So now I can take my handlebar grip, put it back on, as well the turn signal. So I'm going to put the handlebar grip back on. Just slide it over. I'm going to connect the turn signal. Just like we tested the power, we can test, oh, scooter was still on, but we can test to make sure that the turn signal is working. It is. I'm going to take some electrical tape and cover that connection again. Make sure no moisture or water get into it. Tuck that wire back inside the handlebar. You can see it wants to come out. If I just leave it, it kind of sticks its head out. So I'm going to hold it closed at the same time that I tighten with my 3mm Allen key the grip. That will clamp it into place. Right, and I'm also going to tighten the throttle with the 3mm Allen key. It's not moving anywhere. We're good. So we finished with the right side. Now we're going to move to the left side. We're going to follow almost the same process, except this time we have the brake lever to deal with. So again, I'm starting with my 3mm Allen key, loosening the handlebar grip. Just like before, it doesn't need to come all the way off, just needs to be able to move the grip. Again, I need to cut the heat shrink off this and disconnect the turn-in signal. Now I can simply disconnect it, put this down for now. Slide the grip off, put that aside as well. So now I'm going to loosen the throttle. This is the left-hand side, the regen throttle. Once this can spin freely, that's all we need to do. Now I'm going to take 5mm Allen key and loosen the brake lever. Just like everything else, it doesn't need to be off all the way, just needs to be enough to play around. So now I need to identify which cable connector into the display matches with which piece here. The throttle will have 2 connectors, like so, and the brake will only have 1. And just by pulling this slightly and seeing the reaction to this cable here, I can confirm that this is plugged in here. And similarly with the throttle, I can know just by feeling that these 2 belong to the throttle. Now, because space is tight in the channel where all these cables are running through, we're going to gently pull both these things at the same time. And there we have a completely naked handlebar on the left side. So now I'm putting my new throttle onto the air and make sure that the throttle, the turn signal connector goes through the throttle. go. Now I'm going to match up the connectors with where they were plugged in. So the red, green, and black wires will go to red, green, and black wires. The other one, this white, blue, and yellow, will go to a white, orange, and yellow. The main difference here is that the blue, white, and yellow is a male connector on the throttle side, and on the display side it is female, so it's pretty hard to get this wrong. Actually, it's made in such a way that it's pretty foolproof. So now when I'm putting the brake lever and this throttle cover on, I'm going to put my brake lever through the cover. I'm going to feed the wire through the throttle. Well, at least I know I can see it. Put the turn signal connector through both the cover and the throttle. And now I can start pushing the cover into where it needs to go. The best idea is to hold the cable and actually push it in while you're moving the brake lever. So now I can see it. Once you see the connector in this cavity where the display goes, things become a lot easier because you can sort of push and pull. Just be gentle, you don't want to rip the connectors off. So the stopper can come right up against the throttle now, and the brake lever will come right up against that. We will connect the wire from the brake lever into a red, black, green, and red cable, just like so. And now we can put our grip and turn signal back on. Getting the grip on, I don't want to tighten it yet. I'll need the turn signal plugged in, just like the other side. I can turn the scooter on and ensure that the turn signal is working. Same way I can ensure that the regen brake is turning on the brake signal. It is, so everything's working as it should. Going to, as always, cover this connector. Now again, I'll need to hold this turn signal in while I tighten the grip to make sure it doesn't pop out. Same Allen key, I can tighten the throttle so it doesn't spin around, only pushes where it should. And I can take my 5mm Allen key and tighten the brake lever back. So we're done replacing the throttle, installed everything back. Now we can put our brake line back, open the lever. There'll be a small slot for this to go in. Make sure that these slots are aligned. Pull, go in, and then just adjust these so there's not an open channel, so nothing bad can happen. And we're almost there. So now the only thing we have left to do is to cover all of these connectors with electrical tape and reinstall the display. So all of my connectors are covered. I'm going to spin this around a little bit, just bunch them up, and push that bunch of wires down. Now I can get it almost perfectly flush. Now that we have our display snug into the top, we can install it properly. with a Phillips head screwdriver. So now that we have the front of the display installed, I'm just going to retighten the set screw with a 2mm Allen key. Once I start to feel it make contact, I'm going to stop. We don't want this too tight. Now the last thing to do is just to reinstall the front headlight. We're going to place it in its slot. So now our last step is just to put the headlight into its slot, and with a 2.5mm Allen key, reinstall the one screw under this latch. Nice and tight. The display, the headlight can pivot without coming loose. Perfect. And our job is complete. And that's how we change the throttles on an Apollo Air.